On a new ride, new Lord and like, got our hearts and minds, and everything else, each decision we make, Lord, let it be the best of our ability, if you become fine, but it's gonna be great.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I hope you all had a wonderful Independence holiday weekend. Seems like it went on and on and on. Now it's over, back to business. So first thing on our agenda is county personnel or public comment. Is there any?
Sitting back here.
Yeah.
Weingarten's starting, we had a couple of things they had to slip in at 8:30 instead for a motion day. So we had to go at 9, so I can be a little bit, so I didn't see anything on the docket. Or on the docket on the agenda today. Looks like it's pretty light, so I didn't have anything for you all unless you had any legal questions, that you would like to already gone through.
Are you aware of the email that we got this morning?
Yeah, so my recommendation is to refer that on to, Forrest for
Good.
review and input, and then we can revisit that on Monday.
Okay,
But I think it's gonna be more like his avenue than it would be the other, so it'd be nice to have their input since that is mentioned. Yeah, they've had a chance.
Okay, good. Okay.
Okay.
all right, thank you.
Next me if something comes up, but it's pretty full of it, 5-page document that I'll get to and I think. Okay.
Is your hand getting better?
It's there, that's about 2 months. Is what I'm
You can
finding.
hold a cup, I
It's
guess,
supposed to get
right?
stitches up tonight, so.
Okay, all right, well, have a good day, thank you.
All right. Okay.
Okay, well, seeing there's no public comment, I guess we'll go to our first item on the agenda, which is the minutes from the June 30th meeting. Are there any additions, corrections, or discussion items on the minutes as presented? Oh. Okay.
Question was on the minutes, the time of the, we adjourned on the last. So we move it further after that.
It was like one and a half of the
Well, go in the, this is on a work session.
Oh.
43 items.
See, what you're saying, yeah, those are the important stuff. You never cease to amaze me. Now you see. Good job. Okay, so you think 11:43?
I don't know, I just.
I think it was a little before the lunch day. Okay, so we'll change that. That's in the work session on July 3rd to it adjourned at 11:43. Any other?
Yeah.
Oh, 12:13. No, yeah, you, here's the details got them, so. Is there a motion to accept the minutes as amended?
So,
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. Thank you very much. Number 2 is tax change orders, just information here. You always have them. So I have those in front of me here for us to sign. Any questions on those? No problem. You missing something? Oh, okay. All right. No questions on those. We'll just roll on, sign them before we leave. Number 3 is Kansas Department of Health and Environment Financial Assistance. For assurance. Is there anything we need to know on that?
And we didn't know. I will. Correct. I can tell them.
Okay. Okay, well. That's. Nikki, where do we start on this? I went back to the 16th. The agenda with the.
I'll send an email with the link that we can go on there.
Okay, okay.
Down first. Put this in a variance request. You already did that.
So at least have the private meeting. What you're saying to get that on the. But yeah, okay. If something happens.
Does anybody give them a number of what that would be? That, well, the close.
It was on one, on how second, but that's. There was a dollar one already on there, like, one from how.
If you go back to the meeting minutes from June 16th, it has this form and the closure amount is $244,851.67. That's right. Yeah, okay. So it was my understanding that we submitted that variance and so we kicked this can down the road, but apparently.
They get back to us.
Hey, all right, so. So I feel a little like a deer in the headlights here, so if I, and actually. The email he sent you is directly below the actual worksheet on the 16th. And so we need to figure out how we're gonna have that money. Either raise that money in the event of a closure, or do we need to have it set aside? That's what he's asking. Okay. Okay. Current fund, cover your claims need. Unencumbered, okay. Well, in option A, given our current budget situation, we wouldn't have that. Okay, so that one's done. The plan to tax your way in, oh, that's. Not it, no, we don't use it either, an enterprise fund. Well,
So that's why that was up there, because it's all the other. But yeah.
uh-huh.
So that's.
County would be, I know they have a transfer station, with their similar, very similar to an operations we are.
Other. Facility app for it.
Can't answer that for sure.
Okay.
Pretty grateful that. Hey. But,
Yeah, that's the 3-word response that I have too.
I like that on quite a bit, but.
And I don't think it was when you wrote out. What that you does the things that I'm gonna do. And then whatever year the was done, when the inflation rate just. It's why,
When you put post-closure costs, that could be. Earning all kinds of costs then. But just to close the thing. it's-
Okay, so let me just make this short. We need this amount of money or the ability to raise this amount of money in a certain period of time. Do we know what that certain period of time is? We don't know. Okay, so. Yeah, my apologies for not digging on this, I guess. We need to call. Like Seminole County, their structure's a little different. They would still have. They would still have to follow this.
Same procedure.
Yeah, yeah, and these options that you have in the website with the corrected financial. Sure.
Now I can really build it up over a number of years. Number 3, if you set aside some, set aside takes about
Yeah,
6,000 every year.
yeah, does that mean there's another mill? Okay, well, we're just. Part of the new budget process, though, was adding mills in to get that general fund unencumbered cash number. So we would have that kind of in, right?
for the general fund, for the solid waste.
No. Is this something, you've been in contact with this man, and it said about another phone call, should we have him call in?
I think,
Yeah, I don't know if that's too big a ask, or maybe we just need to call him.
I don't think it'd be too big a ask to ask him to call in during a meeting to explain to us.
You
it
know,
was something that should have been done.
It just came into effect in 2024.
No, you just sort of like checking the sentence down to forever ago.
All the companies since we've ever done. I thought it was.
Really, something that probably wasn't that great.
Well, let's, in the interest of time, Randy, and then maybe we just try to get him on next Monday. Guys, that was a little bit troubling. Didn't do my homework there, but we can call and surely talk to him next week and we'll advance on that. And if it needs to be done sooner, I guess. Surely it doesn't. We'll just talk to him next week. We'll just roll on. Sound good to you? Yes. Okay. Good to you. If we can't make time in the meeting or he won't make time, maybe send, would it be all right then? Could I call and ask him some questions? Okay, maybe let me know and I'll call him. Talk to him. No. All right. Now. We have an 8:30. Let's roll on down to agenda item number 4. A month in. District groups. Hi, Dallas. Any questions or? Yeah.
Can you explain why the treasurer's? Is it the way the funds come in or the treasurer at 40%? Well,
That's just
is that
be it.
normal?
I mean, why they're lower,
Yeah,
just the director collective making them use out of their capital improvement fund. Well, it will be, yeah, it's gonna start showing from this point on. You're gonna start seeing the percentages be less on the people we asked to use out of capital improvement. They're gonna, yeah,
Makes sense?
yeah. I thought everybody was in line last month though, and I heard a big drop.
All right, Dallas, it's 8:30. Come on up. Morning.
Mainly because we didn't get a chance to discuss our budget on the budget workshop day. First, I wanted to ask if there was anything you guys had any issues or questions about regarding my department's budget.
And I say I don't.
Yes.
one of the things that we're wondering about is, why the maintenance for the county attorney's tech fund runs through your account instead of through his department.
The Brown County way. Cause that's the way it's always been.
That was set up a long time before I got here, so we've just continued the status quo. We haven't questioned it.
Right, so, I mean, because I mean, Rainbow's the same way we're paying for the rainbow. And, I mean, it doesn't reflect his actual cost for his department. That's the thing.
Sure.
I mean, that was one thing when we were talking, why was, those things that should be into,
it doesn't change the dollars requested for the county, but yet it doesn't reflect really what his expenses are for his department either, if you're running it through your.
I can imagine maybe the thought process was that the IT department handles the networks for the courthouse. And then at some point, the attorney needed his separate network for security and privacy reasons. So I imagine he just went to our department to take care of that. But yeah, I can't say for sure, unfortunately.
It was just a question, but
Okay.
as we were going through it, we looked at.
So it's been that way since you've been here. How long has that been?
Since March of 2021.
2021. Okay, is that something that we should change and just move that around, move it out of yours and into his?
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
So what's the process to make that happen? That would be as least disruptive as possible. How do you do it? You do it just,
We would just need to contact Rainbow and change the information for who it's being billed to.
Okay.
And then just adjust our budgets accordingly.
essentially remove it from you, just add it to him. It's still county dollars. It's not a big deal. Just takes a line item for you.
Correct.
Is it right? Is that something we want to do? Do we need to talk to Kevin?
What you talked to Kevin to the other, that was the Rainbow, now the Oxen technology, I mean. You all use it too.
Yes. Yeah, that we just have him included on our bill. I don't know that it really makes. Oh, I haven't actually separated it out. I'm not sure how big of a difference that makes in the Oxen portion. It is an additional backup and then a couple of other computers.
More than just his.
Correct, it's his and Marcy's, and they do have a backup of their own.
You're running the Dropbox with it too, and paying for it.
Correct, yes. Yeah, it might take a little bit of moving around, but it's something that could be done.
It just reflects what the department's actually, what their expenses are. Personally, I mean, I'm just saying it's not changing.
It's house.
No, it's just house, yeah, you said
Sure.
housekeeping, you know,
That
the way
makes
the
sense.
dollars are tracked.
Yeah, I would be fine with doing everything I can to help
Okay,
move that along.
okay, all right.
See what you can find out on that, that would be good.
Yes. And then we had also included 2 projects for your consideration. These I did not put into my budget. This was an additional. And I did include the information along with our budgets, so you should have copies of it. But we have a project to move our email from, right now it's Rainbow hosted. And we'd be moving our email and our office programs to Microsoft 365. And that would provide more security and give us more control. Because currently, to change email passwords, we have to work with Rainbow and they change it for us. So there's an extra step. And we're not able to do any kind of 2-factor authentication at the moment, which is a risk to the county. And that is something that, while it's not currently a state requirement, it is most likely going to become one very soon as a bare minimum of security.
And Rainbow can't do that?
No, not with our current system.
And also included in that are is the Microsoft Suite, which is what we use right now, the Outlook, Word, all of those. our standalone copies are coming to, excuse me, are coming to life end as we're on 2016 and 2019. Yes. And their updates, their upkeep is coming to an end, so we'll have to upgrade that regardless. So doing it all together would get us to the most recent. And that would get us going and add the extra security that we do.
Somebody wanted to check their email out. Every time you're on the ball, text to your phone, text you, on the, that, you know what you're talking about, two-factor identification.
Well, two-factor, yes, that was sign you on to, yes.
Mhm. Well,
And what seems to be an annoyance is very good security. It's not the answer, but it's the start.
Also, for comparison, I did gather a price for the standalone version of Office that we currently use
Mhm.
to upgrade to Office Professional Plus 2024. I got a price at $579.45. If we upgraded all of our computers at the same time, which there are about 27 of them, that comes out to $15,645.15. And that is, in the past, that's what we've done, just we purchased those standalones at great cost, but this would turn that cost into a subscription.
But that's which direction Microsoft is going. This subscription base.
Annual subscription.
Yes.
I believe it's $12.50 per user per month.
On this board, you're the computer guy.
Wouldn't say that.
We just wanted to make sure you guys understood what we were asking for. If you had any questions.
Question.
Well, just know that some of them are gonna be outdated, but real quick. Offices.
We've been using Office 2016 and 19 since I started here in 21. And that is going to be a big expense to upgrade everybody.
But that's the 15,000.
Yes,
This is a 579 times 27.
correct. That's if we buy the standalone Office and stay with Rainbow. We do the status quo, it'll cost us the $15,000.
That's just a given, because we have to do that, right?
That's only if we go that direction.
If we go that direction. I'm glad you guys come in. So. And if you told us the other direction, I lost the number. What's the preferred direction? Is that listed here?
This is within this scope for the move to Microsoft 365.
Right.
I do believe that the cost is $12.50 per user per month.
So that'd be 1250 times 27 every month.
$150 a year. $12.50.
So eventually it catches up to that number, but eventually. it catches.
But the benefit of that is being able to implement Microsoft's multi-factor authentication for security.
That's what you're.
And we would also receive constant updates. There would be no end of life because it's just a continuous product.
Does a subscription, they lock you into like a timeline contract, that subscription price won't change for X amount of years?
I believe it's just year to year.
It's year to year, so next year it could be 1350. Right. All right.
And we did also have an additional security project. If we didn't want to go with Microsoft 365, continue the way we're doing things now, but we still need to implement multi-factor authentication in some way. There's a product called a Duo, that it's a device that you can use. It gives you a one-time code that you could use to log onto your computer. And that's another route that we could go. So we included that separate project in.
And you guys are familiar with that, with fobs. We would just have, all of our users would have those fobs.
That would be for all you know, like with it.
To your computer itself, yes. Within our. That's-
Multi-factor authentication is extremely important nowadays because passwords can get stolen very easily. And this would be another form of protection.
Okay.
Against our data being exfiltrated.
So, the Duo project I see is 3,851, 3,851. Is that a yearly thing too, or is that a?
Now, that includes the cost of actually implementing it. So the licensing you see of $1,131, that would be the I believe yearly.
That's you. So if we went with the monthly Microsoft 365, that's got the multi-factor.
Yes, that uses
It's built in.
Microsoft multi-factor authentication.
Okay. And so this Duo, if we, we're still talking about three separate things, right?
Yes.
If I look lost, it's because you're all in it.
Yeah.
I just, three separate things. So if you were to pick one, the preferred route, you're trying to give us options. Is this right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you were to pick one, which is preferred in the IT department?
I would think the Microsoft 365 is the more pertinent.
So if they had 365, then this rainbow email thing that we looked at, we don't even look at it, it's just gone.
Correct.
Yeah, and then this Duo option, it's just gone.
I believe we could implement Microsoft MFA to a secure level, so yes.
Okay, so then we're looking at this 27 stations, user computers, I guess, $12.50 a month. Basically. Yeah. In perpetuity, I guess, until we decide to go a different route. All right. All right.
And Microsoft is making it more and more difficult to buy the standalones. Because they want everybody to go to the subscription model.
And so and by purchasing a subscription, any update or changes is automatically included in it, so they don't cost you. It's all built in. So on the ag side, they're doing this to us also. We're trying to get you a yearly subscription to what we. So I understand, but we don't pay for updates anymore. It's all. So that's your preferred way, and you didn't. I mean, do you have any question?
They made it a little more user friendly at first, Office, Microsoft 365, I didn't. It was a nightmare when I first tried it, I went away from it.
I believe now the interface is fairly, it's not too much different from Office 2019.
It just seemed like the program didn't work as good as you had to log on to it, or it wasn't there on the computer, it was just the information is stored elsewhere.
In the cloud, I can choose, there's a place where you choose that. So.
Is there a training or anything to be involved? Does it change their operating system enough that employees will?
I don't believe that would be necessary.
Okay.
Because it is close enough to what they use right now that I believe we'd be able to help them with any issues.
Will it change what we see on the 2 hour weekend?
Not really, because you use like the Outlook app and there will still be an Outlook app. It just mainly changes on the back end.
But we'll have
Ours will be more secure too, because we'll have the, when we log in, we'll have the multi-factor.
Yes.
On. You got questions?
Not really. I'll just trust you guys.
Okay, so then on your budget documents, you had these projects, where would these?
So I didn't put that into the
You didn't
budget.
put it in.
itself.
So if we went with what you said here, this, the additional $4,050 a year.
I could cover the first year out of, my capital improvement, and then, after that, I would need to insert it as a line item.
So we're at 27,000 or something, it's not like 500 something. Is that for computer too?
Yes, the 579, that is per computer.
That's what we're trying to do.
That is one time until the software goes out of life. Which is generally about 5 to 6 years. Except we are using. We have some 2016 that it is still getting updates, so that has lasted longer than the recommended.
But you'd have to add the duo to this.
Yeah.
So that was another 30 or 3,000.
Still do, this is $4,000 here, you still have to do this over.
Yes, we would need to for security.
$15 or something, plus. This, $15.
Yes.
Something
Yes.
for 5 years.
Yeah.
This is so mundane, but okay, I got confused by what he said there. So my understanding was he gave us 3 different options, but
Yes, so if we did not go with Microsoft 365, we stuck with our standalone Office. That is a one-time fee of $15,645 for the Office upgrade.
That's just the office upgrade, and that would leave us still needing multi-factor authentication. So that would add the Duo project.
then you have the duo.
Correct.
But if we went with the monthly fee for the Microsoft 365,
Correct.
that accomplishes the same thing, right? We're not still, it's not in addition to the 15,645.
Correct, that replaces it.
That replaces it.
I honestly believe that the move to Microsoft 365 is inevitable. It's just when we can finally implement.
Right.
But that is the way the industry is going, and like I said, it is just becoming harder and harder not to.
Okay. All right, and Duo was 3,851 in year one, but if that's a subscription too, then the next year would just be $1,000 for the 1,131.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm not clear on is if this $1,000 is per month or per year.
1,135.
So I think that's per year.
I apologize, that's something I should have clarified.
My guess.
Yeah, that would be my guess as well.
I hope so, it'll be pretty high. If it wasn't, so. Good. All right, so you feel strongly that the Microsoft 365 is the way to go, 4,050 per year. Yeah, subscription basis, so, but that's not added into your budget document.
No, so I would need to cover that this first year with.
Capital improvement, already a capital improvement, I see you are sitting on. I don't see it.
I do have the number with.
Okay, what do you say?
24,377. But as a reminder, we mainly use that for big projects like this, or, we're also saving up, for a new server.
Okay.
So we use ours quite heavily.
Okay. Okay, so you did have some projects in there, or maybe project is not the right word to, like. Momentum, maintenance and the AS400 software. Are you gonna talk about this? Or-
No, the Almensa maintenance, a couple of years ago, we were using, capital improvement for that, but I moved it to the maintenance line item because I felt that it would increase, transparency in our budget.
That's just the biggest number that was there. What is, what is that?
That is, we have an AS400 server that all of our departments use, actually, most of our departments use. Excuse me. Aumentum charges the $55,000 yearly for maintenance, and providing program updates. These are the programs that interface with the state, largely the treasurer and the clerks. And they are, as long as we're using that AS400 server, then their updates are very needed. Although very costly as well.
But you're saving for a new one?
We're saving for hardware replacements. So every roughly 6 years or so, then we need to replace that server and also our Windows server, which handles the rest of the network, basically.
Okay. Since that is tied in with the state programs, does the state fund that at all? Or that's all on the.
Nope, that is from us.
Okay. All right. Well,
Felt the same way.
I do appreciate you coming down here and telling us this. I'm sorry it took so long when you had to repeat yourself.
No, that's all right.
But I'm glad you did. So do we need to make a decision on this? Which way you want us to go?
So the Office 365, what's it gonna be annually for a year?
I figured at $4,050 a year, and that covers 27 workstations.
So are these guys one or not?
There's a separate tier for people who only need email and not all of the Office suites, so they would be on that.
They would be, not 27?
No, they're not part of that 27. It would just be email on.
And just the regular Office program is 15,645, that's for one time thing, I'd give you 5 years.
Correct.
Okay.
We also,
There's not a big savings when you have the 1131 in there. I mean, we're still spending about the same amount, except for the 1131 gives us our authentication.
Right.
but if there is a security incident or a breach, then it's going to cost a whole lot more than any of this.
Well, this is one of those areas where we're gonna rely on your expertise, I believe, and I think, I mean, and just triple or quadruple, but the Microsoft 365, that's what we need to do. And then,
So that's the direction we would like to go.
is there anything else we should know about your budget? Anything else you want to explain?
I don't think so, unless you had any other specific questions.
How do you decide on I mean, Oxen is a company, how did you go that direction?
That was also in place before I started here, but we have done some comparison shopping with different companies, and we found Oxen to be extremely reasonable in their rates.
Okay, so you're checking them out and they provide good service at a competitive. Right?
Yeah, while I was in one of the conferences, actually it was when I went to Salt Lake City. I went to a workshop on choosing, they call them managed service provider, MSP. And when I went down the checklist, Oxen was very, very good on everything that they provide and the price they provided.
Okay. Does going with this subscription, it says here on notes regarding budget guidelines. Item number 4. And it says the 31,000 maintenance includes some monthly fees and such, will that change at all if we go this other direction?
They put it into our budget. I'm very sorry. No. I did put that project into the budget already. Oh, 365. So yeah, that includes that $4,000 a month. I believe I already put that in on that. As part of our maintenance.
That $4,000 a year, $4,000 a month. Or they can-
It's $12.50 per user per month. So the 4,000.
You said a month, that's why I was asking, but that's a huge difference.
Yes. Oh, yes, the $31,000 is that monthly amount added to our current Austin bill. But yes, that's just that includes all of the updates and the maintenance and security that they already provide us. They just included this 365 into there.
Okay.
And yes, unfortunately, I forgot that I had done this in Schedule C contractual. I also included the project for Duo, which we could take out of the budget if we decide to go the other route.
I see. Okay.
So explain to me on the ops, on your contractual part, you got 31,000, 10,000, what's it, 10,000 for it, says hour?
That is, we just separated out, because that is what we, pay Oxen if we have an incident, something we have to call them.
Okay, so that covers all year, for the whole year.
Yes.
We-
Yes. And we have been trying to utilize them less and, solve more problems on our own, so we can save some money that way.
They want that to be the hourly fee.
No.
So if we look at this Schedule C, we can remove the bottom, the 3,851.
Yes.
Is there any other numbers that go away?
I don't believe so.
Okay, and then
Does that-
so is the 4,050 already included?
It is, yes. I did include that in the maintenance for county and attorney.
Okay. And that's fine, I mean, so we're gonna look at this. Basically, we're gonna take 3,851 out of that 156, and that'll be the number, and then,
Yes.
okay, all right.
That's because you said it's included up on the option.
Yes.
Just,
Sorry, to be honest, I had forgotten that I put it in there already.
Well, but we asked you so many questions, we found that out. All right,
Yes.
so 152, 200. All right, well, you guys, you've been very good here, and we've taken a lot of your time. But
My pleasure.
when I looked at the budget, I mean, really. We just. Okay. Minus 38, 15, this is just my cheat sheet. All right, anything else for him? Anything else we need to know?
Not that I can think of. Thank you for speaking with me today.
Well, I'm
Appreciate
glad you wanted to come in, that's great, and as far as splitting the attorney's side out. We can,
it. Yes, we'll begin looking into what that will require on our side.
okay,
We'll report back.
okay, right on, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
On the thing that I call them Thursday. When we talk about. That one. Okay, we're gonna-
Yeah, all right, we will get there. You want to come on up?
Yeah,
Ian?
sure.
Yeah.
So I haven't met you before. I'm Ian Sheets.
Lucas,
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And these gentlemen I've sat here with a few times before.
Okay.
So, just to kind of reframe the conversation, it's been, I think November was the last time I was here. My grandmother owns, about a 12-acre property adjacent to, great, I've got the printouts for you. Yep, exactly. And, this road used to go all the way through back in probably the 50s or 60s, and they closed it. And about the time she purchased that, the de facto entrance has always been this lane. But in further investigation, there's no easement, there's no anything official. And so what the goal would be to purchase this piece of property so that we have direct entrance from the county road to our property. It is a piece that is currently leased out. Some years it's been hayed. Troy Kolb is doing that currently. But it's not really maintained at all, because it varies from year to year. Nobody fertilizes it. All the scrub trees have encroached to where there's really not much of anything left. And we also hesitate to mow through it to get through it, because if somebody is leasing it, we don't want to reduce their what do I want to say, their product here.
We just talking about the red.
Yeah, exactly. Her property is the yellow.
She owns this red.
Yeah, yeah, and the northern boundary is the Wolf River. So that's a great color picture, but I've got some packets for you, so I might as well share them with you. So the first one just kind of hones in on where it is. The second one is probably the picture that you already have, but the first one would give you a better idea of where the wolf is. It just essentially forms the northern boundary. So, but yeah, so you can see this is 190th Road here off the highway. The landfill is here. Our land is here, and then this road does not actually go through, but terminates there at the top of the hill. Okay, so that kind of frames where we were. I think at that time, the previous commission had indicated that they were willing to part with that ground. We had gotten to the point of looking at what just compensation for it would be. Then a concerned citizen stated that there was a protective covenant on the ground, and that it could not be sold because it was part of the landfill property. So that was kicked back to me at that time to investigate it. Mr. Pounds had been contacted by KDH&E at the time, and he gave me that contact. So I reached out to a Mr. Christopher Ho at the state, and he was able, if you go, yeah, there's a series of 3 emails. I couldn't figure out how to print them off together. So, but it walks through, and he said that they have no issue with it. He provided a couple documents, which are also printed out. And I even asked for kind of tell me like I'm 5 years old, because not everybody's going to have the sake of the conversation that we had. And he spelled it out again in black and white that there's no issue from a state's perspective with selling it. It's not part of the restrictive covenant. I do have a copy of the restrictive covenant, but it only pertains to the 60 acres that you would assume is part of the landfill. That's actually all that it is. So there is a copy of that. I only printed one of those, but you may look through it if you wish. But the bottom line is in the email there that he said the state doesn't care. We can get rid of that hurdle. There's a lot to throw at you, but
Sure.
yeah, essentially, bottom line is that parcel, because it was all county land, was that all part of the restricted transfer sale? And no, in fact, it's not. It's just the it's just the 60-acre square that's defined as the landfill proper to the further to the east. And there is, I believe in the packet that I gave you, there should be actually one of the documents that he provided is a map. So just to orient myself here a little bit, this would be going north. Okay. So here is 190th right here. Okay, there's the landfill, there'd be the entrance to the landfill roughly here. This is Meadowlark that comes up to where Mr. Kolb's house is, where the road ends. And he's got disputed as actually our ground here, but this is the area right here. So what you can see is although this entire piece is the county, only this section on the eastern edge is what is relevant to the protective covenant of the transfer. And that's what he states as much in the emails. This is one of the documents that he references in the first email. So if that helps orient you a little bit.
I was understanding they put C and D on the rest of this, but from what you're saying is it's only this rectangle.
Correct. And that was the point of confusion before. And even Mr. Pounds, if he was here, could tell you that the later phases that are planned for years and years down the road, all only still maintain to this here. Yep. Yep. And that was what the intent of the clarification from Mr. Hope from the study. And as you can also see that provided that they did put C and D, expand this even, 100 years down the road or whatever, there's still obviously a pretty distinct boundary between the property that we're concerned with. It's got the waterway and the tree line with the balance of the property. It's not like, for example, an open field that we want to carve a corner off of. It's very much divided by a pretty distinct waterway. Yeah, and you've got your picture there, but I will show you another picture. I only printed these comps off once because they used a tremendous amount of ink in full color. But this is from Onyx. This is the lane right here. So our boundaries here, I drew that in marker, but this is the county area here. This is a deep ravine waterway all the way through here that's completely tree lined. And if you look at the larger overall picture that I gave you there, I think you can see fairly distinctly that it's very separated from the rest of it. And wouldn't be in the practical scope of anything that the county would ever do with that. And Mr. Pounds had also previously indicated that it was really of no interest to the county for its purposes.
We still have we're just abandoning our road down by Portland. We still gonna have to decide for a pole before the line gonna be. Is it gonna go to the center of where the road used to be and we're gonna split that land? So is it 20 and 30 feet on the side of the fence where the fence is now? I don't know where the road.
Right. Well, and so that I think would all, I mean,
You'll have to.
my belief is, yeah, you figure that out in principle, right? And then the surveyor, when they come in, and that's something that would still obviously have to be done. And we'd indicated from the beginning, we would carry the burden of the survey to get that facilitated. But yeah, the intention in my conversations with Troy was that it would essentially just go to the center line of the road where the existing road used to be. This is a very uneven and just kind of scrub tree area. So it's not like there's a lot of value in it for him as well, but we still needed to define the line just for the sake of the legal description and so forth. So that's really kind of the long and the short of it. This line where the road is here kind of actually covers from here forward the actual driving lane. You don't see it quite as well there, but really this is the line that then leads down to our property. Yeah, so that's essentially it. If you go down there, you might want to go on your way home and go check it out, but
This drive.
okay.
Help me out again. Is that the only way you access this?
Yeah.
That's the
That's
only way.
it.
So this 195th is a pretend road.
It is. And I don't know that it ever went, yeah, on some map versions, you'll see where it would have turned and gone through basically across the property. I don't believe that it ever existed. It might have on a theoretical drawing somewhere. If you follow and if you've got access to Google Maps, it may make sense there. I don't know if I have a blown out picture that has the details. But let's see, give me just a moment.
This is I'm using a hunt map.
Yes, okay, exactly. So the 195th that it shows is essentially the northern border there. I don't believe ever existed.
No.
Where it crosses the river there, it absolutely did, because the wreckage of a bridge is still in the water there, the steel. But that's been closed longer than anybody else can remember. And you'd struggle to find out where the road even was until you get to the piering for the bridge down at the river. So anyway, yeah, and de facto, I mean, I think my grandmother purchased that land from an aunt of hers in the mid-90s. I want to say we started camping down there when I was in high school, probably 95, 96, right in there. This has always been the entrance to it. Now, could you go through for some other place through the county? Yes, but you'd just be going through a larger part of the county ground. My guess, whether it's relevant or not, is that once they closed this road, whoever owned it at the time just started going there, and that became the way. But I've been up to the appraiser's office and looked through. There is no existing agreement, anything on paper about this going back to the 1800s. So anyway, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's been kind of de facto our lane as far as maintenance of it and being able to maintain it to get down through there. But it certainly is not in reality, and it would just be nice to be able to make that ours. We could take care of it, clean it up, and not worry about stepping on anybody else's toes in the process. So that kind of brings us up to where we were when the monkey wrench, so to speak, got brought into it about the protective covenant. I believe that's been cleared up now. You can, of course, go back to Mr. Ho if you need more than what I've provided you in the emails. But I think that brings us up to current. You know, obviously, you're a third different commission than you were then, and you may have different concerns than were stated at that time. But I did want to give you kind of the backstory from my perspective of what got us up
And
to.
the protected covenant was the primary issue.
Correct. So my understanding from Mr. Pounds was that a concerned citizen said that whole county piece of ground was considered landfill, the way it was defined, and the terms of that protective covenant was that it couldn't be sold for general purpose. So we went back to define what was actually part of that. And in fact, it's only this section here, according to the state. So my hope today would be that to get, a consensus that you would be willing to move forward with continuing the process of selling the property, and then look at starting to discuss what fair price for it would be.
So on this page,
Mhm.
it does say the whole quarter, but this page is not right then.
I'm going by, that is the grant that was provided as one of the things that's actually provided by the individual from the state, that also in the same email said that it wasn't an issue.
Okay, yeah, so I'll back up there, because I
Mhm.
didn't read this down here, because that says a quarter section, but this says 68.
Yeah, there you go.
Disposal of 25.4. Helps me the whole thing.
Yeah. So the challenge that the state would not allow it, I believe, is what he addresses in the email. And I don't know if that disposal would be more like, because I mean, there's pieces of concrete and stuff that have been piled up there on other parts of it, if it's just, what do they call that? C&D type stuff.
Sure.
Because in the larger document, it talks about, and I don't know what they are, because I'm not a big waste management guy, but where they actually have like vents and things that are installed that you see, and anybody who would buy anything like that would have to be responsible for maintaining those and all of this. You see them on the big, like, rolling hills or whatever down there, but I don't think we even have any on our actual landfill, but But again, I would just defer to the email that he provided with the clarifying language and the map that he also provided along with the document that you referenced. Give us any minutes?
A lot of stones in that creek. Rock. And that gully, big boulder's house.
Yeah, you had mentioned it. Did you go down there and check it out? Yeah. Yeah.
Like it must have been a quarter of it. Probably not, but,
Target rock.
but, yeah,
Mhm. Mhm.
those things you won't do.
Yeah, it's pretty little gully there, isn't it? And then that's another thing is, so we have a tube that's down there at the base of that. And we would probably do a little bit more to help manage fallen logs and so forth. We've actually took a cattle guard and done it, but we'd like to be able to screen out some of the big strainers that come down through that cause things to wash over that tube and so forth. That would be another priority if we can get the lane there. Yeah. There's some big pieces of bedrock, just like there is everywhere else in the county. It's just exposed there in the waterway.
Silence. What's Troy think on?
He's got no problem with it.
And
I mean, he actually hays we have kind of this mutual benefit that, so there is, the majority of our property is actually a field. It's just a brome field. We deer hunt out there. And it has been haying it for the last 3-4 years. Which is nice because it mows it for us and he gets the hay off of it. So he gets more off of that than he has off of the lane. And like I said, he hasn't, I guess, staked his claim on the lane himself by any means, because he's not removing the scrub back or anything. I mean, it just continues. It'll be wooded in another 10 years if you don't do anything about it. So, I mean, you're certainly welcome to talk to him, but this ground's kind of been covered with him. He's got no interest in it, and our intent would be to let him continue to hay what's there. Yeah, I think he gets off of this one because he sets them down at the bottom. I think there's about 2 bales. Yeah.
my experience, just as a farmer is I've never buy land and even or sell it, you know. That's not- This is a long-term thing. You guys, I mean, this is old hat,
Right. Yeah,
thing was the hiccup was the permanent.
the permanent and just deciding if it was gonna be it's the lane or if we're gonna give them the ditch too. That was only really 2 questions we really had was if it was gonna be giving them just a lane or if we're gonna give it the square. But that was the only thing we were really, the only 3 things that were really left to determine is make sure that we're okay with the state.
The state says you are. So you're gonna try and survey out this rectangle.
Which is roughly 5 acres.
And this road is abandoned. And so your line would technically go to the middle of the wood.
That's right.
And then Rich said something about the fence. Is that gonna mess with the fence or just really have a?
I don't think there is a fence.
There's not.
Just trying to figure out where the middle of the.
Right, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
In contrast with the old room, I'm just saying.
Sure, it's the tree line. Yeah.
It's all.
Yeah. And I've gone down as far as, again, using that Onyx app, which was nice, isn't it? Gone down to the creek. This is a little more zoomed in than it doesn't quite show the whole lay of the land of the Wolf River. And I've stood on that one piling that's still there, or cross beam, and put a pin on myself, and it's basically a straight line right down that tree line. So I would assume that it would just square off right there, but that's what a surveyor will tell you. Because Troy is this property line all the way down to the.
This makes you, and this is you here.
Correct.
This just makes you a more usable piece.
Right, exactly.
Still wonder how, and how big is your?
It's about 12 acres.
It's 12. But the road used to go there because there used to be a bridge, because you can still see the pile. It's all. Forgive me. I just-
No, I'm glad that you're
In my
trying to
mind,
get oriented here, yeah.
I'm trying to understand how someone got 12 acres in the middle of the section.
Right.
With the river on the north,
Mhm.
but that's how.
Right, because it was accessible via the
Because
road
it
at
was
the time.
accessible. Yeah. And-
Somewhere, this is just kind of history, but it said that that was the main road from back before, well, that's why Claytonville was a big town evidently, because that was the main road going through there.
Probably so, yeah, because Claytonville was directly south across 190. The cemetery's still there and so forth.
Back in the 1800s,
Mm-hmm.
but then when they put the highway in, when
Yeah, right.
Horton was made, then it was more direct. I never got down to where your bridge was, but
There you can, there's another, that square is the county, and you can just see our little doodah there. And then actually, well, my pin is still there. That is on top of the bridge piling. So you can see that it just lines up. I mean, you know, as close as these actually do. It goes straight through, and then you've got basically a hedgerow, but it still shows it as a road on the map. And that's, yeah.
So did you discuss,
Mhm.
did you discuss just bringing the dozer down there and cleaning that road out so you got access?
No. Sure. Well, I mean, at one time you talked about putting a gate there or something like that, but I mean, I think as they say, the juice wouldn't be worth the squeeze for that. We've already got a lane that's adjacent to it.
Sure.
That's a pretty rough patch. It's full of trees.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And so, I mean, you can go check it out. There's basically a very natural gate to it, just right at the top. And the lane is more than suitable.
One of the first things I did is Troy got me down there. and-
Oh, okay.
So take a look at this.
Yeah.
And but that's been 4 or 5 months.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so then if you go to your comps here.
Yeah. So, and this is why I did print these out. I feel that on the list, there's actually only one that it makes sense. And if we take a look at the pictures, I think I'll let you draw your own conclusions. But these are the comps that were given. Again, from Onyx. The first one, let's see here, hang on mine, I wrote the names. The first one is Olson's. Okay. You can see a nice corn bean field there, at 100 acres. The second one, right, yeah, that's Merle and Stacy Charles there. The second one that's listed at 230 acres. Another nice row crop there. The third one that's listed at 111 acres. It's also a nice row crop field. The fourth one that's listed as 41 acres is a tree waterway and a little bit of pasture. And then if the last one that's listed at 66 acres is yet again nice farm ground. So if I was playing the matching game, I would choose one of these that I think probably coincides a lot better with the land in question than all of the rest of them. And I'll see if you draw the same conclusion as me. I believe that probably chose the most recent sales in the area. Regardless of what the quality of the land or the use of the land was, not knowing what the land in question really was.
Well, they probably get land that's small enough to purchase that acres too versus 500 acres or 1,000 acres,
Mhm.
trying to get it down. Not very often. 30 acres or 5 acres sold out.
Right. Mhm.
Well, the landmark has changed since 2021, so this one, physically is the most accurate description. I mean, that number won't that won't do it anymore. But yeah, actually seeing these farms just sort of makes me sad because
They've gone up some.
they've gone up so much.
Sure,
It's-
sure.
Ugh,
Sure.
things change, so.
So I mean, we would be willing to. You know, I think that number's. Like you said, those are 3, 4 years old. But you know, with the use of the land and everything like that, I wouldn't want to go too crazy, but I'd be interested to hear where you'd be at with that then.
Okay, so that'd be the next step.
Yeah, exactly.
Curious, to know what we did with, Dan and Amy over there, the price for their acre, and then what we're looking at on your bridge on 310. You know, what they're saying, because that's just we're moving a bridge over and having to purchase a waterway and land, you know. So what was that fair market value that they were proposing there? I think that could be a good. We're doing the same thing, we're purchasing land that is just a waterway and a creek runs through it too. So I thought that would be a fair comparison, because that's what we're doing.
Okay.
To move a bridge, to move a, we can't take out a historical bridge, so we have to move over a new bridge.
I see.
We will eventually go into the creek.
I mean, you know, the ground really, so I guess it's a little bit of a seller's market because we're the one that wants it, but the ground really has no practical value to the county at all. So, you know, I would hope that we would be able to find something that's reasonable. Otherwise, we can just leave it, you know, or leave it alone. But I don't know what in your mind is the landscape has changed by 20% or.
Well,
Cause I know a little bit about what ground has, these crazy prices that the ground is sold for up to the north. I don't know down more in your area what it is, but yeah, I mean, those are, like I said, those are real world prices. They just need to be time.
they're just out of date
Yeah.
and things have changed so much in 4 or 5 years. Really just the last year and a half is when things really accelerated. But I understand it's 5 acres of rock and trees, you know,
Yeah.
it's,
Right.
but there's a certain dollar figure where it's not even worth our time to mess with it, because if it's, you know, so we gotta find something that's relevant.
Right, well, and not worth your time to mess with it is, it's all being put on me. All you guys have to do is sit here and agree, right? So I'm paying for the survey,
Sure.
I've had to do all the work thus far, so I would just, you know, I guess appreciate your willingness to work with us to get this done.
I agree that the comps here. This one looks pretty sad.
Right.
But he had to go somewhere, so that's.
No, I get it, and that's why I printed it out, because I felt like it would be clear once you saw that.
So we bought some land last year or two, and it was about half timber and half
Mhm.
crop ground. And it was appraised at about
Yeah.
$3,700.
So divide that by 0.12, that gets you, but that's only 0.12.
Thank you.
He's good. She
He was faster.
Yeah.
We're looking for it. I figure that's the fairest comparison.
Well, I suppose it would be, but then that puts you still at $6,000 an acre for the scrub ground. Yeah, so, I mean,
I just go.
yeah, no, it's a number. It's a number for
All
sure.
that is a waterway.
Right.
It's a
Right,
pasture. So
Right.
that's what the state or the engineers came up with us. They gave us the price with the farmers. And I didn't know what that was. I
Right.
had no
Yep.
clue. So I
Um,
thought it would be a
you're right.
quick comparison to what we're talking about.
Yeah,
well, I've got friends in Realty. Would it be fair just to ask them? What they think?
I suppose so. Yeah, I mean, what do you? Where do you? I just want to make sure that we're not, because I have a feeling that
Oh,
this is going to be
Hammer mode.
Okay, yeah,
The $1,800, that don't sound like.
Okay.
That doesn't sound like enough. I mean, even I bought timber, it was 3,500.
okay,
So, I mean, we just gotta we
yeah,
gotta find a number that people.
sure.
And I understand, you know, I'm of the opinion that government land just kind of sits there idle, doesn't do much for people.
All right.
We just, I just gotta get-
Yeah, sure. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
What do you think?
that's right. The piece we bought was appraised at that price.
Okay.
That big more for that for appraisal.
Now, and would you mind sharing what you're talking about? Is this something that's on the?
Well,
Oh, okay.
yes, so it's mostly at least half timber.
Mm-hmm.
The crop ground's not real accessible to the road,
But there's crop ground as part of it.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Small. Acres is the biggest patch
Mhm.
or something. It's not like you want to take your 12-row or 20-row fire engine.
Sure,
So, but that was a appraiser's value,
sure.
and that was a few years ago or something.
All right. Yeah. Boy, if you find, how many total acres was that?
55.
You can find me at 55 acre section for that. I'll buy it and build a house on it. Like the guys in town would love to get a hold of some little pieces of land to build ground on and just can't, or just kind of stuff, you know, but we just plan on making that a driveway and cleaning it up and maybe getting some firewood off of it and letting Troy hay it,
So
so,
if we couldn't come up with a price that you like, I
yeah.
mean, could we still push those trees out or?
Sure.
I mean, I'm not trying to be.
No, I know you're not. I guess from where I'm standing, just to be real frank about it.
Be frank.
I feel like it would make sense for us to get a hold of this. We don't have a tremendous amount of money. We're not gonna make any money off of it. We just want to buy our driveway, right?
Sure.
And I think if we go by I don't know, but when you settle on this, it's going to be so much that we just go, we'll just continue to drive down it like we have done for the last 30 years. And I think that's a shame because it makes I mean, there's really, like I said, there's value to it in us. There's really no value to the county. It'll be better property, taxable property
Right.
than it was before. No one else is really going to want it because it doesn't go anywhere. And just like I said, the juice ain't worth the squeeze to clear out the lane to anybody else. It's not going to be to clear out those scrub trees to maybe get one more bale out,
Right.
which is what it's going to be at the end. So I understand your concerns and you've got to look out for the public interest here. There's so many objections that come up that I'm just like, feels like it should be a simple process.
Sure.
And there's just stumbling blocks at every turn.
Well, it sounds like you've taken care of most of them. Now we just could come up with.
Sure, yeah, no,
Number.
I agree. So I would, if you want, would you want to have somebody appraise it? Do you want me to have somebody do that? I mean, I'll incur some cost with that, I'm sure as well. But that's an investment we're willing to make. But I mean, if it comes back at $5,000 or something like that, we're just gonna, no. I might do that if it was someplace I was building a house on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would by all means go take another look at it here in the summertime. But yeah, I would just like to see, I mean, this has been like about a 2-year process
Sure.
at this point.
Thanks for that.
So yeah, like I said, it ain't broke, but it would be much better for us to have control over it, to be able to maintain it, improve it, make sure that we can ensure access to it. Troy benefits because he gets some additional hay ground off of it, which is to our benefit as much as it is his by mowing it for us. So it's just a matter of can we come together on this?
All right. I mean, the hard part about this is, we're all on camera here on record.
Yeah.
But do you have a number that you're thinking?
Yeah, so I know what I was thinking $2,500 an acre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And that was with discussing it with my family, and that honestly, that was not throw them a low ball negotiating, but we knew that the 1,800 was what we considered to be, boy, if we could get it for that, we didn't expect to get it.
Sure.
But that was kind of where we were hoping to be. And so, yeah, I mean, and it's open record regardless. I was hoping that, work section, you could talk a little bit differently, but that's okay. So,
Well, we're gonna get questions about it either.
Sure.
So we just will get that.
Oh, yeah. I've got, I mean, and I do feel that that's fair for the piece of land in consideration. You know, again, it's all a matter of public record regardless. I definitely understand how that works, so,
No, okay.
okay.
Anything else?
My question is, where do we, what's the next step then?
Man,
My thing is, we've beat this up for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
If we decide out what we're gonna do, $500 acre reasonable for something that we're not going to use. You know, otherwise, if we're not, then we're gonna need to put some work into the lane to give him a lane to go down. We're gonna have to provide a lane, we're gonna have to do work and put a bridge, and put in a new tube down there to access it to the property.
Yeah.
Because that would be our requirement. Cause it's a bigger tube down.
well, it's not necessarily our requirement. I mean, you could.
We
grant
have
it down
to,
the
we have to
easement.
give him access to his land, He has to have a lane or a way to get into his land, a tube. Across the ditch or whatever, just like anybody does off the road, the road's been terminated,
Mhm.
it's the only way to get down there. I mean, I think we still have to provide access one way or another into his property.
Well, and we will incur some more expense by having it surveyed off as well. And it's been a little while since I did that. That's probably another $1,000 on top of it. What's the last time I did it? I think it was something around that. I might be totally off, but it's not insignificant for the scope of it, but yeah, I mean, that would be great if we could get there without having to have 3 more meetings, would be nice, just because this is like
No, I understand.
their 6th time. But, you know, I understand what due diligence looks like too.
I think I brought up last time that could be a long-term lease or something.
Yeah. No, I mean, that is a totally viable suggestion. It's just definitely not the direction that we would prefer to go. I'd just like to be done with it, you know.
What about this piece street? 50 years ago.
Mhm.
2 years ago.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
One thing about where this piece of land, so developing and putting a house there is not a possibility.
No, that's not.
There's no way that he's gonna, I mean, you're not buying it to do that.
Yeah, there's no bait and switch here. It's truly just just a lane that will be able to clean up a little bit more. You know, you talked about rocks. We might get some more for the fire for the campfire down there, but you know, there's no development. We want it to be natural as it stands. There's a good cross grade to it, and it tends to wash a little bit and rut, and we might do some things to mitigate that a little bit. But you know, you don't want to get into something that's not yours too much. Even if it was just for our benefit, it might upset somebody else. You're messing with somebody else's property. So yeah, 100-year lease. Will I care in 100 years? No, but just like anybody else, you just soon tie it up and be done with it.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have a lot of history here. If you've got a definite way you want to go, we can do it. And if not, I don't want to just kick the can down the road. But I'm looking for direction.
The easiest way to do this is that I'm gonna make the motion that we offer to put $2,500 acre that is offered, and then we will know if it's gonna go or not. But the motion on the board to.
Explain that. though. I don't
Just to offer them, he said it's $2,500 an acre for those 5 acres, so you can have that, I don't know if you want to accept that. I'm just, I don't know if it's a motion or, but.
Pending
I'm
the
trying-
survey.
I'm trying to figure out if we're gonna do this or not, because we can sit here and talk all day, but at least if this puts it. It just, you know, if you would make the motion, we don't wanna do this, it'd be the same for us too, or vice versa, so.
All right, so you're making a motion.
I thought.
I think that's the proper way.
All right.
Thank you.
I mean, that we could, it would be 2 years,
Mhm.
for the 2 years.
Yeah, yeah, at least, yeah.
And we got the documentation we need that we can get rid of it. If it was a house, a place where they could develop and make it into stuff, I'd say yes, but. I have been up and down those ditches and it's solid rocks in there. It's just very much you can do. Maybe at the very top, right across from Troy's house, but you couldn't do any place anywhere else.
You could put a small house in there something.
For what they're using their land for down there, this is their. It's their camp, this is their hut area, it's just, you put a house up there, put more people live in there, and leave room for nothing there, but it's all.
So I would say that at $2,500 an acre, it's a 39% increase over what the call is. I just, 25 minute, yeah.
Well, there's a motion on the table, I guess. Second.
Pretty much. If you try to go by land, I mean.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, no, I understand. I mean, so you're,
or- I told you before, I'm gonna sell it.
yeah, but you also did come around and ultimately agree that there probably wasn't any value and no reason to stand in the way of it before we ended it before.
You want more time to think about it?
Well, I don't wanna, I'm not gonna second it because I wanna ask some people. I understand. And it's been, you've been here a long time. And it's, I just wanna ask.
Sure.
I'm not against selling it. I just wanna make sure we do the right thing.
Mhm.
The 39% over that property value from 5 years ago, I just wanna make sure that that's a reasonable number and that. You know, we're doing what we need to do. I
That's fine.
understand it's frustrating.
Yeah, it is.
I understand that, but I mean, I'm not gonna second it. But I'm also not gonna,
I think you need to be good with it before you go.
Okay, so you won't second it either then?
No.
Now, if he comes up with a price, will you second it then? Because the a price, okay, okay.
I'm not gonna jerk you. around the
Okay,
hand.
all right.
I'm really not. I just wanna,
Give us a couple.
Yeah.
from my perspective, it's just, I just need to do a little more.
Yeah,
research.
okay, no, fair enough. That's fair. That's fair. And this is your first time at bat with this whole whole.
Well, I knew, but, and I looked at this over the weekend and I didn't understand. When I looked at, this, I mean, this is,
Yeah.
I didn't know what your comparable sales were. So when you
Okay.
showed me some numbers
Mhm.
or these pictures, and I'm like, I thought this is where you were gonna be.
Oh, okay, sure. And it changes the
And-
game when you see
And it
it.
changed it, and you showed me all this rope.
Mhm.
So
Right, right.
that's what I was thinking, and all right, well, I mean, that works.
Sure.
That.
Sure, yeah.
Makes
Oh,
sense to me,
Mhm.
but so then it changed so much, and I
Mhm.
really feel like I better ask them,
Okay,
so I get,
that's fair.
oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I get it. My question is there anything on my part that I can do to proceed with this? Or do you just need to ask around, or is there, I mean, where would we kind of go from here?
Well, I'll know next week.
Okay, may I get on the agenda for next week then?
Think so.
Okay,
Yeah, and
Okay.
again, I apologize,
No.
really, it's just,
I-
you laid everything out, and that's what I did too.
Mhm.
But I just didn't see the pictures.
Sure. And frankly, when those came in last November or whatever, I was a little shocked, and that's why I started looking and went, oh, Bill, this is all partner.
There might be some properties, I mean, I would think there'd be some properties that have the same similar mix, then we ought to get some numbers.
Well,
Better-
this one, but it's just old, it's just older. I mean, it's still just a tree, it's still just a ditch with trees.
Right, right.
And a tiny bit of brome on it. So, I mean, that one I do, I would definitely argue that it is the same. It's just where I would acquiesce that values have gone up since 21 or
Yeah.
whatever that was.
Yeah. Let's get you on the agenda for next
Okay.
week, and one way or the other, we'll do something.
So how many acres of brome is there on this piece we're talking about?
I don't know, maybe,
Acre and a half, two.
yeah,
Native, isn't it?
yeah.
So percentage wise compared to this one, this 41 acres that had probably 8 or 9% trees, right?
Yeah, yeah, but so are you valuing the ditch more than you are the brome ground?
No.
Okay,
I'm try-
okay,
I'm trying
okay.
to,
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, I mean, and you can see it, do you have that color picture that I printed out there? I'm sorry, and I was gonna leave all of this with you, one of the one of the. Yeah, you're right, and so. It's in here somewhere, right? One of these. Ah, here we go. Well, and so you can see, I would say that's probably, I would say 80% if I was estimating that right there. The same way.
maybe it's like,
Yeah, right. It's just a matter of adjusting that to 2020, 2025 numbers, I guess.
Do you have a phone number?
Yeah, absolutely. 269 area code 269-274-4759. Okay.
All right.
Yep, and I certainly understand your concern and need to do your due diligence. It's just, my frustration is only with the length of the process and potential stumbling blocks.
But it'll
So,
move quickly from
Okay.
here, I think, and I tried to, just.
yeah, and I'll give you this as well. These were ones that I had printed off. This is just another copy of it, but this actually has for reference.
Okay.
I wrote the names. I'll leave these with you guys. I just didn't want to print off three because like I said, with all that
No,
black, it took a lot. But there's a little quick reference guide to which properties are which. This one is like in the middle of somebody else's farm. They sold off the.
Yeah.
And then here is a copy of the restricted covenant, which was not one of those two documents. If it's relevant, I've got it all on my computer now, so I'll leave you the printout of it.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you. And can I just coordinate with you to get on the agenda? All right. All right, thanks for your consideration, guys. I appreciate it.
You've been.
And nice to meet you.
All right. Oh, we were talking to Dallas. We were talking about the ADHE, we had done that. He's gonna try to get on the phone call, and then we were talking about the financials. And Bill had said something about the treasurer, that we worked through all that. And then I was gonna ask, we did have on our road and bridge districts, we have that June 19th where we paid a bunch of freight. That was the turnaround for the oil that came when no one was there. How did that happen? Do we know?
That just it, right?
That was Juneteenth and the day after.
I think that they called. Yeah. Said we didn't need it. And John said that was texting. The other day, to tell them that we don't need it.
So we have charges for those.
But every time they have it, didn't need it. No one ever needed it.
that's pretty much the story I heard.
There was a turnaround or a freight charge of around $540 a load, 4 loads.
That was the record.
That's what they were. Right.
Yeah, if you look here, page 43, you can see. Yeah, you see stuff. And they're all on. Well, no, there's 4 of them. Page 43 at the bottom of the page, return freight. Just a little over $500. So in a situation like that, it's our word against theirs, and so we just pay the bill. And yes,
That would have to call and plead his case with them.
I think
You know, and find out, document and say, here's what I called.
we think you could invest it a little bit, but Almost $2,000.
It's a lot of money. Is that something, I mean, have we ever gotten in this spot before where the commissioner to call? Do we need to call? Have we gotten in this spot before where one of us should call Nance Brothers and
Yeah,
ask?
it's always brought up to the foreman.
Well, the foreman wouldn't have the incentive that we would to get it right. Would that be out of line to call Nance Brothers?
Oh, you mean,
For me to call?
That's not very contained to. Right?
Well, I'm just looking for a little help, I think, something, especially if Doug did what he was supposed to do, but they sent it anyway. Texting, you're right, texting, validates it. But,
It's all. Yeah, but. What it says, so I'm not sure about it, but, no.
all right, well, would it be all right with you gentlemen if I just call Nance Brothers and ask them back? Would it be?
I just need to find out who he said he called, who he said it to.
Okay, I don't know.
what's a guy, he comes out, I don't know, I'm just saying.
If you give me Doug's number, I'll call Doug and then Doug will come and do
I
it.
can text it to you.
Okay, thank you. I'll just ask. You never know. All right, that's all I had seen there.
So there was more than just 4 roads that were there. And the next day. Let's see. We're looking at 6:36. Was that information at six?
This,
Yeah, that's
this is today's
today's.
meeting packet, page 43. There's some other freight, but it, sure that's what you're talking about. It just says freight. The 3 I'm talking about is return or 4. That's the list I'm looking at. I'm looking at the bottom of the page.
Just like it happened up on 6-9 too. One load went back, I don't know if we got caught in the rain, but to send a load back.
Well, it happened several times on the night, 3 times. I thought maybe there was difference in freight and return freight.
Oh, that could be.
I don't know.
Sorry.
So, is that what you're talking about, Bill?
Yeah, I guess I didn't, well. The freight's determining the number of gallons.
Freight's probably just a total number of gallons delivered that day.
Right, so. So what day was that one that went off the road? That was on the 19th?
The 19th.
Was it the 19th or was it some other day? I thought that was maybe the next day or
Yeah, I think it was on.
that was on the holiday. Okay, well, she did. So at least you,
I'll ask him if I get a contact number. All right, is there any other questions on the? There's a lot of information there. I assume since they started in district number 2, that's the reason why I had such a big number. As far as expenses. Yeah. And I assume everyone else will catch up, but it sure looks kind of suspicious. A lot of stuff happening in District 2, so any more question on that? Questions?
so you up there are some places, I think, with the merge, that's when it takes more than the 2 hours.
That's when they're sitting there for a little longer than they
They're
were
supposed to be.
Yep. Really, like, they must not have been too long, because $17 wasn't. That's not very much.
Right.
$17.50. Okay, is there anything else? Any more questions on those? All right, that's item number 4. I'm to the end of, is there anything else to come in front of the commission here? Well, with do we need to talk about anything else in executive session before we close? Yeah. I think so. So, um. Well, I move we go into executive session for 10 minutes with 3 commissioners and county clerk presence to discuss employee. Comments. But, 10 minutes. Is there a second?
So
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, going for 10 minutes. We back in regular session at 10:07 approximately. All right, we're out of it. We're out of executive session, back into regular session, no binding action taken. Excuse me, is there anything else that we need to discuss in regular, in the open meeting here, regular session?
Very common for words on small rate. You don't have any kind of food and anything.
Okay.
And I thought we wanted to get out and approval for extend. Well, he's contracting with these or and we're paying him.
He's already contracted with the transfer station down there. He did, he's already calling me his trailer, so he has that action for the trailer. I'm sure. And he comes and picks up from us 4 hams too. That we don't, when we don't.
I had only thought of. But it's always, I need to go over it and know.
Let me go back to. Where was your red note? Back to find previous meeting. Well, you seen it?
Line's still loaded.
You seen it?
We paying him the same with paying next one, right?
That was 30th. Is that third of the month?
Well, I just had it there, but then I went to page 26 and I'm not seeing what Bill said. You're page 73. Let's see, just heard you.
They couldn't do it was gone. But he wasn't there to drive.
Yeah, did he take vacation?
And they just submit the bills to you, do they have a date of when they did the service?
Well, Nick submitted bills on the 26th.
They did it for that. Your board age.
I think 11 birds. You see when Nick submitted. We need to ask him about that, because even the two dates overlap there. Between Smith and Sons and the Colin. Well, we're just asking. We also need to maybe get Kevin for next Monday too, because did everyone see that the email from the tax sale firm? Did that get forwarded on? No one got that. Yeah, I think so. And it's informational. What do you do? Michelle Bringwell is her name. Linda Osterman was a company that DJ recommended. It come on the 26th is when I had it, 26th of June. This was when my computer was doing the password updates. I couldn't send emails, so I forwarded it to the clerk. But it may not have got there till the first part of July.
Yeah.
Do you see it? So there's some good information there. I mean, we need to have a little time where we can get Kevin in here to talk to him about a few things. His tax sale would be one of them. See what he'd like to, or what his opinion is on something like this. Can we try and schedule him some time for Monday? Yeah. I know on his budget request too, he separated out sync and county counselor position. So there's a guy that works for Nemaha County, Austin Parker. We sort of talked about him too. I'd like to somehow, we need to get Kevin in here too and talk to him about that if he's really wanting to split that out. Because this Austin Parker would be glad to talk to us by phone or come into a meeting if we wanted to do that. Just to just take on the county council. This part, the business part of not necessarily the scene.
That's not the one we left. Where they had somebody and they doing both sides of that.
It's the same person, yeah, he's doing the county council side now, but not the scene. So I imagine he'll be in contact with the clerk if we wanted to have him talk to us. Is that something you're willing to do? Just consensus? And then I also I asked the questions about the employee benefits, the health insurance side, and I believe Lotco's coming up with some numbers, different proposals, so that'll be on the budget here sometime. Do we want? I reached out to Sailor Insurance. She's Amber Bletcher there. And I'm just gonna read this to you because this is what she sent. Okay, so the next step would be just to vote to allow Sailor Insurance to quote health insurance with no obligation. All claims data can be transferred through Watco or BCBS direct. When it is provided, excuse me, when it is provided, is not tied to any personal information. Yeah, for plans that we broker for, we do not review claims data with our county officials due to privacy concerns and public meetings. We review simply as a total cost of claims for the year. So, as I understood, we have a 90-day termination clause with Watco, but she acted like that was no big deal. They do it all the time. To bid, even if there's another contract that you put. Does that make sense? Well, I don't know if that's. For me, more information is better, but Watco also. I don't think understood that we wanted more information. Is that right? So they didn't do it. Now they all. Amber said they'd be happy to quote. And it's no obligation.
He's gonna go somewhere inside the brother.
Yeah, but I think Watco is too.
Okay.
It would
Well,
just,
if you're looking into it, it says there's only 2 or 3 carriers that can do what we're at, because of the size of our company. I think we're over so.
that's right. I think it's Nationwide, Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Those are the 3 that come to mind.
And those we've got quotes from over in the last 5 years. We've had, they've been brought into us from the time's over, but problem is that they can make a low ball, and then the next year you're jacked right back up where you were.
Well, I'm new to all that stuff. I mean, I'd like to have more information, but I don't want to get crossways with Watco. But I don't think sailors would, in the way she indicated they do it all the time, but it's
But they can
also.
also, I mean, that's what. If they're gonna go get Blue Cross and Aetna, those are all people that. Watco can get the same information from. So who are they gonna quote from?
Say it again.
We hired him as a broker, and now we're gonna hire this company to do the same thing that he's doing, so we'll have to get rid of him. To have her do what he's doing.
No, I don't think that's true. I think she can, I mean, if I understand her correctly, she can price shop. And it's no obligation, it doesn't cost us anything. Unless we. Yeah, but we have Watco as a $12,000 line item on our budget.
We've always had an insurance broker to handle all of our stuff. And if you were here, when we had the one before, we got to tell you that, you know, we went from nightmare to. Yeah,
Well, okay. My understanding was that the fees. I don't know that there is a fee. It's built into the cost of the plan. Yeah.
So bigger insurance, because when you sell insurance, you always get a percent or something.
Yeah. So I guess my ask to you is to the commissioners here, do you want to give her permission to quote, or would you rather not? Because we'll need a motion to do.
This my opinion is, don't walk the boat too much and stick with Watco, and I mean, he's got us on this self-insured deal. Hopefully that will work out.
we went 1 year on that to give her a chance to work out.
Right.
And right now, we're looking good, but yeah, that can change.
May change.
Well, Watco's looking at different option. So,
So if he's looking, can give us different prices on the other company,
all right.
I'd say that would go.
So, then. Okay, now I'll say I'd like to have her look. So, I mean, how do we do this? I guess I'll do it the right way. I'll make a motion to have Sailor Insurance check into prices, other options for health insurance. So that's a motion, and so And there's no pressure here. If it dies, it dies. We can,
I've been told by other people that we should be looking around different places. Like Blue Cross. But I think you're probably right. That they can start you out low and then they'll can raise you. Cause
I mean, who they gonna check with? Because it's the same ones that Watford's gonna check with, and where they double it up too. I mean, if he goes and checks with Aetna, the other ones which do it, and they do it.
so my answer to that is I really don't know how the process works. I don't know if do they have different prices? Do they look at things a different way? I mean, that's why I was suggesting we do it because I just don't know.
so I think Barclay's been pretty helpful. I mean, you'll do about wherever you want, I think.
Okay, so the motion's on the table. Is there a second?
Guess not.
Okay, that motion dies for lack of a second. That's fine.
From where I know we came from, to where we are. Bill, you probably would have seen, we were at Watco when you came in.
Yeah, we had that other guy.
Okay. Did we have the other one first? You were on the end.
Yeah.
Tail end, yeah. That was a long road.
Okay, so that motion died for lack of a second. That's all right. That's the way it works. Okay, I think that's all I had. Did anyone have anything else? Bill, do you have something for us? Just Rich?
I would like 5-minute executive, with just 3 commissioners on performance.
All right, I'll second it. Been moved and seconded to have a 5-minute executive session with just the 3 commissioners present. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. For employee performance, right?
Yes.
Yep, okay, we'll come back at 10:29 or 10:30, whenever the clock starts. things hitting us that we didn't really expect. We really didn't. I guess I just didn't. So, is there any other, excuse me, is there any other business to come before the board operating session?
We said we remember to remember.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Right,
We're not
into our numbers yet.
Yep. It's not gonna work. So if there's no other business, we can entertain the motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second. Okay, move and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. We're adjourned. We'll go right into